Today we have a brand new release by Tower Hobbies. I bet you didn't expect me to say that. This is the brand new 1.5 meter Beaver. It comes with optional floats, which I have chose to fly with the floats today, or traditional landing gear and a tail wheel if you choose. It has steerable rudders on the back of the airplane, and there's a lot to talk about with this plane. Now they're doing some fairly innovative things, at least innovative and first time that I've seen some of these. The nice thing about Tower Hobbies generally is the cost of their planes. And this airplane has done a few innovative things to, I would imagine, help the cost of the airplane, and I'll point those out. I will say that it took me a little longer than usual and longer than expected to assemble the plane. I say I've probably got about 4 hours in the assembly, maybe right under. It wasn't challenging, it was just time consuming, so be aware of that. First and foremost, the keen eye may have seen the unique usage of fishing line and rubber bands to steer the rudders. And this is a rather unique method for flaps. We have one servo to control both flaps. When the flaps are level, your arm should be to the left a bit, and that arm will adjust to the right to lower the flaps. Also, on the cost-cutting side of things, it's a 3S airplane. So for a 1.5 meter plane, being 3S is kind of unique. I do like the fact that there's functioning lights and flaps, ailerons, rudder, and elevator on this airplane. So in today's video, we're gonna maiden this. I'll probably talk a little bit about the assembly and some of the things that I came across, either during the flight or maybe at the end, after we've landed it and got it back on the ground. But it's kind of cold today. So I'd like to get this thing in the air and see how it does. So let's fly. That tab goes there. That's supposed to smash down. There, that'll have to work.
Well, it floats.
It floats. That's always a good first sign. The water's low and the wind is pushing us. The nose is in the wind right now. Of course, we want to always do a ground test of all control surfaces, especially before flying over water. And I have a recovery boat just in case. We're just going to take off with no flaps. Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, that's not the direction I wanted to take off, but it is flying. And so that's a plus.
You're up.
We'll shut off the water, which usually takes about 10 seconds or so. And then I'll try to trim it up. It definitely needs trimmed. That's okay. We're just flying on a good old tactic radio, all dumb setup. I say dumb, but it's a really nice setup. I love my tactic, just for the simplicity of it. Well, I will say this is a fairly lightweight airplane, and so I was a bit worried about 3S being, you know, how much power we had. For this big of an airplane, I just kind of think 4S, but it seems to be flying well on 3S.
Especially with those floats on the bottom.
Yes, that's right. I was a little worried, but it's not that heavy. It's actually fairly lightweight. I have Expo in on my controls.
Ooh, nice pass.
Yeah, we're getting there. Still need a little trimming, but
it looks pretty good.
Well, I'm compensating for the trim,
okay,
or lack thereof. Yeah, this is flying really well. It's nice and scale. I'm a little on the nervous side just because.
I can tell you're not saying much.
Well, I'm really focused. I want to try a loop. We're going to loop it out here.
Oh man.
That bird I thought was something flying off my plane. I'm having a good time. It's been a long time since I have flown a Beaver over the water. I had a little one years ago, And it was,
That was the first time ever, wasn't it?
yeah, yes, off of water. So it's really cool. This reminds me of that.
You still have that, don't you?
I do.
It sat on your
It's
desk
on a
for
shelf, I
years
think.
when we lived in our old
What
house.
a pretty fall day to fly this on too, which I think that's really cool. Now, part of the fun of flying off of water is what?
Touch and goes on the water.
This track's kind of funny on the water. It's almost got a mind of its own. Oh, yes, Come on, that's why I got the boat. Wow.
Hurry! Well, this is a first. Oh my gosh. I'm just gonna keep filming in case it like pulls a Titanic, splits in half, and sinks straight down.
I really didn't think I would need this.
Oh my gosh.
This is never easy.
I don't think it's gonna be able to do it.
I don't know if I've ever actually flipped a plane
You haven't
out on the
ever.
water.
Yeah, you just sunk it more.
I didn't sink it more.
If you need to step out farther on the dock.
Oh, this is gonna be impossible.
You're going the wrong way. Stop before you push it out farther.
The boat is on the wing.
It's stuck? Oh no.
Just chewing up the wing. Definitely stuck on the wing strut now. Thank you. You're welcome. I've never had one flip upside down on me before. And you see I brought a remote control boat to try to save it, but it didn't help at all.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Dripping.
Yeah, thank you guys. Okay, that's never fun. I tried to use this as a recovery boat, which really wasn't a great idea.
Not a good choice.
I thought of power and not the front of the boat. When you have a pointed front, it really can't catch on to anything to push it. So, you know, something like the Cajun Commander or the Aero Trooper with a flat front is much better. And what happened was this was upside down in the water, and so my rudder actually got caught on the wing strut, and so then the boat was not functional either, and it actually chopped up my flap just a little bit.
Oh yeah, it did.
Yeah. So, quite the adventure. These kinds of things can happen, which is why we recommend just going out with a good recovery boat. This one is a good boat, but it's not a good recovery boat. or even a kayak or something. So we're gonna get the plane cleaned up. Lucky for us, we have baby wipes always.
There are. Lights are still on.
Oh, I think it's still gonna
so
work.
So it's a good sign.
Let's do a quick little test here before we go. All right, quick little test. We have elevator, we have rudder, we have ailerons, flaps, but I have to reassign them in the radio, and after all of this, take off on the ground.
The only visible issues is that came unstuck, and then the boat, the recovery boat, chewed up the plane a lot. I can't believe that. That's crazy.
Lights are still working.
The lights are on. But you don't have a recovery boat now.
Not a good one. It's still a little wet. You know, the airplane flew well. I do think that on the water it tracks with a bit of a mind of its own, and that is probably somewhat accredited to the fishing line rubber band. You can just see how much play there is, okay? And if you have any amount of speed going, that kind of does its own thing. That's why it drives like this on the water, but why it caught the way it did? Yeah, I think I know why. We were going from right to left out there over the water.
Yep, wind was
to my back, and so I started to pick up some speed and the tail went over.
Yep.
Okay?
Nose goes into the wind.
And that, well, I was trying.
I know you were.
But that's because when this is on the water, these don't give much rigidity at all. That is very loosey-goosey, and I did it. It's got the perfect amount of tension because these are fairly straight. They may not be perfect, but they're straight enough, and then they do steer with that tail wheel, but again, there's just not a lot of rigidity there. So I think that what you need to do with this airplane is put the nose into the wind and take off, and don't plan on doing a lot of touch and goes under a lot of throttle. I was throttling on the ground pretty fast, and it just went. And if it was a very calm day with zero wind, you'd probably be okay, but we had a tailwind of about 5 miles an hour. It wasn't much at all. You saw how glassy the lake was, and that caused us to flip over. This is a large airplane. It's 1.5 meters. It's a budget-friendly airplane, and to hit that budget, that price, there were a few things they had to implement to save money in order to get that price point. So that is the new Tower Hobbies Beaver off of water experience. I've flown a handful of airplanes off water, and you know, always be prepared for the unexpected that can happen, and that kind of happened today. And I think this is a real good chance to talk about AMA, the Academy of Model Aeronautics, because as prepared as I am and as experienced, I'm not saying I'm a great pilot, but I'm an experienced pilot as I am with flying float planes off of water, I had no reason to believe I'd have any issues with this today, but you never know. Elements of surprise, things are uncontrollable, pop up and kind of catch you off guard, and that's why I fly with the Academy of Model Aeronautics. They're an insurance program for those of us that do fly. Now, I was out there over the water by myself, but if a guy came speeding around the corner on a boat and his family, and you're not supposed to go that fast or anything, but if they did and caught me off guard and something happened with this and it bumped into them, hey, I'm just gonna say I'll be glad I'm insured. God forbid anything like that ever happened. By the way, it's just a piece of foam, so no one's really gonna get hurt, but it could scratch the paint on their nice boat. And that's where the Academy of Model Aeronautics will step in and help you out. Well, this guy will be linked in the description box below if you're interested in checking it out for yourself. And I think I want to say a massive thanks always, every day, to God, but especially for just his timing in this. There's literally one other boat out on the water. They're kind of doing their own thing. And 5 minutes after this flipped over, they just happened to be cruising by. They picked it up, they brought it right to me. I don't know, just what perfect timing. Abby and I were getting ready to go get the kayak, and that would have cost us like 2-3 hours to make that happen. So for that little experience, but for everything in life as well, I thank God. I also want to say a massive thanks to our Patreon supporters, because we couldn't do what we do as often as we do it without your amazing support. If you like water planes, float planes, we'll have another hand-picked video just for you popping up right about now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you there.
Bye!